Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we're speaking to the team from Ziinkle. Mel and Elisse, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Great. So everybody obviously knows Leila. Leila's here to interview the team with us because we really want to understand you, your story, and why Ziinkle. So thanks for being here, and then I think we'll kick things straight off. So guys, tell us what your story is. Tell us the background, who you are, and how you got to this point before founding Ziinkle.
We'll start with our background. So I have 13 years experience in marketing, and I started off in agency looking after experiential activities. So my passion and my expertise lie in bringing brands to life through technology. From agency land, I went over to Telstra and essentially looked after all the experiential activity throughout the entire company. So how do we bring the brand to life in person, in real life, if you will. I've worked on a whole lot of apps with them as well. I helped bring to life the My Telstra app, the NRL, AFL Live Pass apps, and of course, there's the New Year's Eve apps. From there, I moved over to CommBank and I looked after the industry verticals for retail, not-for-profit, professional services, and healthcare. And that was very much one-to-one. How do we maintain and build trust with our customers so we can build retention and keep them in for the long-term life cycle.
Awesome. And yeah, I'm one of the co-founders of Ziinkle as well. And I've got 12 years of brand and marketing experience in agencies and large corporates like NAB and CommBank. And my specialty is above the line mass media, brand and marketing. And I've spent a lot of my time in the technology and digital innovation team, so building apps and app features and taking them to market. And I've worked alongside companies like Google and Samsung and Microsoft.
Awesome. So you've got a strong marketing, customer-focused background. What led you to starting a dating app? Tell us the story behind that.
Yeah, great question. I think it all really started for me when I came out of a long-term relationship in early 2019. I didn't really know how to get back into dating. How do I meet people? It was just such a foreign concept when you've been in a relationship for so long. So I had really no choice but to download dating apps because that is what everyone seemed to be doing. So I downloaded a couple of those, and the more that I was using them, the more frustrated that I was getting because it was just, for me, really disheartening. I just felt really burnt out and disposable. There was just really a lack of connection, and it was so hard to build that kind of chemistry and attraction with the digital profile. And for me, I know I'm better in real life, and that's how I wanted to meet someone, but there just weren't any solutions to facilitate me. Where do I go to meet people? Where are singles hanging out? And that was my really, really kind of key frustration point.
And while Mel was going through her breakup, I was her support person. So I was living vicariously through her, helping her swipe and go through the digital profiles. And having been in a relationship for the last 12 years, I couldn't wrap my head around how you just pick someone based on their photo and start talking to them. It just was so foreign. What do they sound like? How tall are they? I don't understand. So I felt really frustrated at this experience, and I thought, no, there has to be something better. So I said to Mel, that's it, we're going out. The problem was, because we had been both in relationships for so long, we didn't actually know where the places to be were anymore. So we would research all week and then, find something, get dressed up, go out. And one of three things would happen. Either nobody would be there, which is concerning from a business point of view, or the crowds would be too old or too young. So we would, again, get out our phones and we would look on Instagram and watch different people's Instagram stories just to see where people were in real time during the night. What was the vibe at different places? And again, we'd find something. This was, of course, during the Sydney lockout laws at the time. So we had to make a decision very quickly. We'd get into a taxi, go across town and try our luck at a different venue. We did this for months and months and months, and it was extremely frustrating and extremely costive, and we just spent a lot of time and effort for nothing, really. But what did come out of it was a solution. We thought there had to be a better way. wouldn't it be great if there was a platform that would allow you to find where the best places to be were based on the people you wanted to be around, based on what the vibe was at different places? A platform that is more than just meaningless chat for 3 weeks. It allows you to create an organic connection with someone, go in somewhere, make eye contact, know instantly if you like them or not, and actually form a proper relationship.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Dating apps, they change quite rapidly, but the general concept stays the same. And I think a lot of people are feeling disheartened, disconnected with the current apps that are on the market. So I see there is certainly a market there.
I related to Mel as well, just adding that. So much better in real person, in real life. I don't like apps. I don't like to be talking to people that I don't even know if I'm gonna have chemistry with them in real life. Yeah. So yeah, and I love it. I love the solution.
How do you find chemistry over a screen?
Everyone says the same thing.
Yeah.
You literally go to 10 conversations saying the same thing.
Yeah. It's a question. I mean, how do you understand who that person is? And what I've seemed to find, and especially in a professional world, people can say the right things in email or in message, and then when you get to meet them in real life, it's not the same. So putting that into a dating perspective, I understand. Awesome. So tell us more about Ziinkle. How did obviously you two have known each other, but who else is involved? Help us understand the team as the greater team as well, and the solution. From putting a customer's hat on, walk me through the solution. What does it look like, and what does it do?
In terms of the team, obviously Elisse and I are the co-founders.
Yep.
And we've got a wonderful advisory board of 6 who we've pulled together, who have a lot of the critical experience and skills that we need, obviously, to establish the business and get it to maturity. We also have our app development partners. We have a team of 8 there working on the development, the building and the maintenance of the app. We also have our marketing, what we call Dream Team, which is our creative media and PR agencies. And there's 7 people in that team that we've got. And then obviously we've got yourselves, our wonderful KapVista team.
Awesome. Yeah.
I have a question out of the script, actually. How does the algorithm works?
I'll run through that. I'll run you through how the solution works and how the algorithm works. So imagine you are at home and you're like, I want to go out. I don't know where to go. I want to have a girls' night. So you look on your phone and you open Ziinkle and you put in the suburb that you want to go out to. So in this scenario, we'll use Surrey Hills. Put into Surrey Hills. And I've already got my preferences set up. So I'm looking for males between 30 to 40 years old. And I want to find males who don't smoke. So I put my preferences, I've looked at Surrey Hills, and up pops a map with venues. So I can see there are 23 males that fit my criteria at the Dolphin Hotel. There are 10 at the Clock. There are 3 at the White Horse, etc. I call up my girlfriend, say, hey, we're going to the Dolphin. Get ready, let's go. All I can see is numbers at that point. So I can't see specifically who's there. It's obviously a privacy thing. They can't see that I'm looking. They don't know anything about me. I rock up to the Dolphin Hotel. At this point, I have the option of switching my profile into 3 different modes. So I can select incognito, which means I'm there. I'm basically not using the app. I just wanted to be around people. So nobody can see me. I can't see who's there. I can switch it to anonymous, in which case I still just show up as a number and they show up to numbers as me. So again, I would proceed as I would normally do. The third option is visible mode. So the reason behind that is because often when you go to a venue, you don't know who's open to being approached. So this helps with that icebreaker as well. So in this case, I'm switching my profile into visible mode, and then I get a list of everybody else who's in that venue who's also on visible mode. So I can see Tim, John, Nick, everybody's there. So I'll go in, I'll get my drink, kind of, do a little bit of lap around, look at my phone, and then I'll start looking at the profiles. So I can see, okay, Steve's here. He looks good. I'm looking at his profile. Yeah, that could be something. I click, I'm interested. He gets a little ping saying, Elisse is interested in you. He will hopefully send one back saying he's interested in me. At that point, I go, hang on, I want to make sure I feel safe here. We have built in a whole lot of safety features purposely. A lot of our competitors have had to retrofit their safety features. And safety is a big issue in this industry, especially at the moment with catfishing and obviously a lot of assaults and things happening in the US. We want to make sure that that doesn't happen on our app. So we've got something called a validation video. And with the validation video, I can request that Steve sends me a 2-second Snapchat style quick wave so I can see his face. I can see he is who he says he is. And he can request the same from me to make sure, I look the same. I haven't filtered myself on my profile. This is what I look like. Once we're both happy with that, we press yes. And the chat box opens up, and then Steve can say to me, hey, I'm upstairs at the bar. Let's grab a drink or whatever we want to say. At that moment, I can walk up to Steve. I will know instantly, yes, there's a connection, make that eye contact. It's going to be good. Or I can be like, oh, maybe not. In that case, I haven't wasted 3 weeks of my life talking to Steve.
Yes.
I knew instantly that it was him.
I love it.
So,
effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as the algorithm works, obviously it's going to put the matches that, it thinks you will like most at the top. We want to really bolster that in the future. We've got some big plans for that, and we want to really put in a lot of machine learning into that as well.
Awesome.
The app is set to be released in 2022. Is that correct?
Yeah.
How many people you have on the waiting list?
So at the moment, we have 132 on the waiting list. And out of that, we've actually had about 27 people pay for the app. Even though we have no product, we've already started generating revenue for it, which is pretty impressive for us. We are aiming to get to 5,000 people on the wait list before we launch.
Wow.
Yeah, that's unheard of these days. Having paying customers before having a product. A lot of the companies that I have seen over the last sort of 2.5 years is they don't have paying customers even 6 or 12 months after launching. So yeah, that's a change. So let's have a deeper dive into the industry, the clients, and the partners. What's give us an ideal. And I know everybody says it's a very broad target base, but who are you focusing on in terms of clients? What sort of partners you have? And I know from us speaking before that you have different versions of the offering that's coming out in different verticals. So just walk us through that.
Well, the industry is currently a $3 billion global industry, growing at a rate of 13.3% in 2021 alone. So it's got a projected market volume of $4.7 billion US by 2025. So it is growing at a huge rate and continues to grow. There are currently 4.98 million users expected by 2025 globally. So the opportunity is absolutely huge. Obviously, we've got Bumble, Tinder, and Hinge, who are our biggest players. Bumble and Hinge are owned by Match Group. Now, Match Group have the biggest portfolio of independent dating brands under their belt, and they do so by acquiring brands globally, just so they can obviously be the market leaders in each country. There's a lot of heat from Bumble, who has partnered with Badoo. So in Australia, Australians spend $121 million on dating app, and that is growing each year by 2.5%. So we know there's a huge opportunity in Australia, and that's obviously where we will look first. We're looking at our Gen Ys and Gen Xs. So these are our, over 30-year-olds who have a high disposable income. Now, people on dating apps don't just use one dating app. They're usually in about 3, and they're happy to pay, especially in that over 30s category. They're looking for serious commitment. They're looking for relationships. And COVID has had a huge impact on this. And it's actually been a disruptor to the industry. So normally, your people in your late 20s are happy to still casually date. They're in no rush. Eventually I want to get married in my 30s and have kids, but I'm in my 20s. They've now realized they've lost 2 years of their life in lockdown. So those plans all of a sudden are front of mind. I've got to meet someone now. I've got to get married. If I want to have kids, I've got to do this now. So there is a lot of panic, and there is a big growth in dating apps at the moment because obviously there's no other way to meet people. It's just online.
Yeah.
So we know that 40% of people meet online, and that is just growing every single year at a huge rate. So they're our target market that we're going after. We know that the Gen Zs will follow very quickly. They still have their university contacts and their school contacts, so they're still out and about. Whereas by the time you reach your mid to late 20s, 30s, your social network has really, really shrunk. So you've got a small pool of people that you still hang out with. By Gen X, that pool's even smaller. And if you are somebody who has had kids and divorced, again, that pool's even smaller, but there is a bigger need for you to go out. So they're the people that we are going after. Mm-hmm. And we know there is a big opportunity with them.
I think one thing also just to add on the industry as well is that when Tinder and Hinge launched in 2012 and also Bumble in 2014, the problem that they were solving were that singles wanted to meet people outside of their usual friendship groups or people outside of the local hotspots that they would always go to. And it was really around how can we broaden that potential to meet people. And I think, Tinder, Hinge and Bumble did a great job at doing that. But inherently, they've created a new problem. And that comes down to the paradox of choice and the illusion that there is a lot of choice. And it's just really eroded people's social and communication skills as they sit behind keyboards and they're swiping more. And I think it's really just leading to, as I felt in my experience, a lot of singles feeling disconnected, feeling burnt out and feeling really disposable. And for us, Ziinkle has that really unique point of difference because it's that next gen dating app where we're getting back into those quality connections.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. The art of conversation is lost. Bring that back.
Yeah. What have you guys realized from the waiting list? Do you have more males than females on the waiting list? How it is? Because on Tinder, I've seen that 76% of users are male. So how is that for you?
Yeah. Generally, with a lot of our competitors, there are a lot of males. Obviously, there are more females on Bumble than there are Tinder and Hinge. For us, at the moment, it's a pretty even split, and that is something we'll look to continue as we implement our marketing strategy for user acquisition. So we are very conscious of having an even split between males and females. We don't want it to be too male heavy. Similarly, we don't want it to be too female heavy. Bumble's kind of strategy when they launched was if you have females, the males will come. So we know that it is important to have those females on there first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So we've gone through the milestones, and I think it's quite incredible what you've done in terms of your paying customers before even having the product launched. But and we've touched on a bit of the industry, but thinking about the where it's gone over the last 5 years, you mentioned that Tinder and Hinge and Bumble, they created a new problem. Where do you think it's going to go in the next 5 years?
Well, the industry is only, as we know it, is only 9 years old. So it's exploded very quickly. But there's been no real innovation. So everybody's been using the same model. Nobody's kind of tried to do anything new. Even if it's something niche, it's still the same model, people swiping on each other. So as I mentioned before, COVID has been a huge disruptor in this. There's more focus on the social experience. So people are craving real life human connection. 5 years ago, there were less people on these apps, so it was easier to find matches. But now, because of gamification, It has gotten a lot harder. Obviously, those platforms want you to stay on their app. And swiping was still a novelty 5 years ago. Now, because of COVID, nobody wants to swipe anymore. Everyone's fatigued. Everyone is sick of just looking at photos. They want to get out and about. And that has really been highlighted in the last 18 months. So the industry has acknowledged that they need to be more innovative. They know that there is more of a focus on social experiences. So we do have the big players starting to roll out things like video and audio and, online speed dating, etc. But it is still very much an online experience. So in the future, I can see them trying to grow that. I don't know if they will get to a point where Ziinkle is going, which is completely taking the online offline. Mm-hmm. They make a lot of money from their current business models. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. But we, as Ziinkle, we have some huge plans, and we will disrupt the industry and hopefully change it for the better.
Amazing. So talking about the raise, how much are you raising and what it's going to be used for?
So we're looking to raise at least 500,000, and that's really going to help us bolster our launch in early 2022. Which obviously we want to generate as many users as we can and spread the word as much as possible. It's also going to help us accelerate our strategy to scale nationally and also build additional revenue generating features that we have in our backlog, as Elisse touched on, kind of phase 2 and phase 3.
Yeah. I don't think we mentioned it here, but you just had a successful equity crowdfund through Virtual. What did the virtual campaign cover, and then what's the next use of funds?
We did. So we've done 2 rounds of raising. So the first one was friends, family, and connections, and that was really to get the business operational. Yep. And then as you mentioned, our virtual crowdfunding campaign that has funded our MVP app and also our launch. And with Virtual, we also put a buyback clause in our constitution and subscription agreement just to future-proof future investors and the strategy that we have long-term, whether that's acquisition or IPO.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. So you're currently raising this $500,000 is what you're aiming for here. This will get you to launch nationally, and then what's the plans from there? What I understand Australia is a small. It is a very profitable market, but it is still small. Where's the next point? Where do you see this going out to?
So the next important thing for us is, as we mentioned, there's a phase 2 and phase 3, which allows us to tap into additional revenue streams that have not been touched by our competitors. It'll give us a serious new edge and allow us to create a totally new category, which will be an unparalleled experience for our customers. So there is a lot of money to be made when we hit phase 2 and phase 3. This additional revenue will help us expand globally. So we're looking at the US, we are looking at Canada as well, and also the UK, as the UK is the second biggest market. Along with Australia, obviously, is New Zealand, and then post that we will look to Europe.
And we've already started our trademarking process. So we have our trademarking approved in the UK, and it's currently in the final review in the States as well. So again, making sure we've got that roadmap in place and getting all the foundation things done as we can.
Yeah, awesome.
And if you look at the competitors, they all IPO'd within 5-6 years. So that, of course, is a goal for us, or acquisition would also be a huge goal for us.
Yeah. Having done some research in this space, I know Match.com is you'd call them a leader in the acquisition space, and they're acquiring companies in local jurisdictions for healthy multiples. So if you make enough noise, there is the potential to be acquired for a decent return, and if the offer is not right, then there is the listing or world domination, because it's not just an Australian problem. It is a global problem, and what you're doing fits into so many markets.
It does. And I think, you know, even if you haven't experienced dating apps yourself, like there's a high chance you'll know someone who has, because that's how far and wide the problem spreads. And I think the unique point about Ziinkle, and obviously our key difference, is that we've lived the experience. And being co-female founded also gives us a new perspective that the majority of apps in market don't have.
Yeah. Coming from it from a personal perspective, means that you're addressing, you know, a real pain point,
yeah.
which is valuable, and then understanding, you know, the target market that you're trying to address, and understanding their pain points means you're solving, you know, a real world issue, and that's valuable when trying to grow a company. So yeah, I like what you're doing. You know, I'm interested in the space, and we're keen to see where this goes.
Yes.
So, you know, I think we'll sort of you know, finish it here. But if anybody wants to get in touch with the team, you know, you can reach out to Leila or myself. We're more than happy to make an introduction. I think you know, the story resonates with a lot of people. You know, if someone's you know, reading your material and having a look at this video, they get the problem straight away. So understanding the solution is a simple problem. Emotionally, I think a lot of people can jump in, and I think you know, physically and the financially, I think it makes sense. So I think you're in a prime space.
And with your experience, I can't think of anyone better than you guys to make it happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. But thank you very much for jumping on with us. It was a pleasure chatting to you. You know, I expect we'll see a lot more of you in the public domain quite soon.
That's the plan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.